Okay, might as well get right into it. Berserker Bear, Buffalo Dustin, doing a little Pan American Exposition research, if you will. Pan American Exposition World's Fair, held in Buffalo, New York, United States, from May 1st through November 2nd, 1901. The fair occupied 350 acres of land on the western edge of what is now Delaware Park, extending from Delaware Avenue to Elmwood Avenue and northward to Great Arrow Avenue. This is how it would look now over modern day Buffalo. I just did a quick Google search of the Pan American Exposition Buffalo image search, and I just seen this one in the bank of images. It lays over this layout, bird's eye view, over the modern day Buffalo, and it's actually quite useful when you have Google Earth up. This would be effectively the area where that is. So here goes the Pierce Arrow, as we just read about. Be up here, top left. And that's an interesting complex, actually, still in Buffalo. So this would be the top left of here, and I believe that's called the Midway. You can see it right there, the Midway. There you go. I haven't looked into the details as far as getting down and seeing what each individual things are. We're going to go through pictures of these from archive.org, and just to show you the grandeur of what this was and what we're trying to figure out what were the expositions that were held in all the major cities in the early 1900s, late 1800s actually. I believe the Chicago World's Fair was earlier than this. That being said, you have the stadium up here, that's the round thing, and you actually see these shapes out west. I'll cite one of John Levy's videos. I'll try to put it in the description. I keep on citing these channels, and I'm very sorry that I don't put it in the description. You guys are completely legends anyway. People know who you are. Autodidactic, Philip Druzinen, Flat Earth British, Martin Liedke, UAP, even Stellium 7 and Mud Fossil. You guys are all just killing it. And I hope that I'm adding to the fold here from Buffalo. I have this stuff in my backyard, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I have to start putting this stuff out there because I can bushwhack this stuff and get on the ground and see it for you. Get right up on it. I've already showed some videos about getting up on it. And the last video I did were canals. Now I did some more looking into that. It could be raised railways. Obviously, I understand that. But what I'm saying is I think that before the railways, they were canals. Anyway, here we go. So Pan American Exposition. And when I say I can get in on this stuff now, I'm trying to assess where this is effectively. Obviously, this is the Great Arrow Road right here, and this is right here is a rail line, ley line. Here it is. Here's that Great Arrow complex right here. So if you step back, you see Delaware Park. I think Delaware Park might have even been flooded pond at one time, because again, I do think these were all canals. Again, the Africa video that Autodidactic did, it said there were canals everywhere. I think that, in my opinion, I think that they backfilled the canals and made it a railway way back in the day. And then you have kind of information like this that I can look up and see that kind of lends credence to that. There goes that. Not that one. Where is the other one? Oh no. Here is a Pan American Exposition book that I found on just a simple search on archive.org. We'll go through that, but I want to. This would be the Erie Canal from Buffalo up to Lockport, all the way out to Rochester. You can actually trace it. There's Lockport. It actually links into the canals that I showed in my last video. I'm kind of losing my place here right now, but there we go. Off of Squaw, there we go, boom. I'll go through it another time. The Lockport Canal comes and cuts into this canal system that I believe this is obviously what you would say maybe an old railway. You can make the argument. I mean, that's a great layered flip right there. Oh, it's a railway. Yeah, you know, it was a railway, but what was it before then? What we're saying is that these are ancient lines that have been around for a very long time, and that we use them for airports, canals, railway systems, but I think they were originally canals in the last age. So this is what I think is the canal. There goes a little bit of gravy for you too. There goes some of the ancient structure. Now, that could be a bridge connecting. You know, it's raised, the highway. It's a raised highway. Why do we call it a highway? Because they were raised. Now, you say a bridge went over that for the railway. Yeah, for sure. But those could also be containment walls for a canal. And then you can just do a quick that's not what I looked up for. Did I search earlier? There we go. I mean, I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Anyway, I've seen pictures before. Yeah, like there you go. I've seen ones that look similar to what I was seeing here. I went there. I bladed there. And actually I took a picture of it. It doesn't look that old, but I couldn't tell if there was weathering on it either. But I'm saying that this is like, this was a canal system. That's what I'm saying. Don't care if it was raised and it was, oh, it's a railway system. You could say that. That's of course for sure. But then there's quarries along it too, and yeah, the quarries were the trains were taken to the quarry. They could have also used that quarry to backfill all this stuff. Look at these ley lines. They're ancient ley lines. We use them for stadiums. What were stadiums? And we use them for, out west, you use them for airports. John Levy has showed that countless times. So again, Buffalo Pan American Exposition. Now the layout, that's cool, and I can get on here and everything. Now we'll get into the actual architecture and how this stuff looks. There you go. There goes a stadium. And looking in the background too, if you can see up here, I'm not sure if you can see, but it's all flat land. All flat. All flat. Like, you know, very easily could have been terraformed on a massive, massive scale. And then what we see as mud flood can also be terraformed. I'm not saying that's what it is. It could certainly be a mud flood. Also, the mud flood could be just the sediment from a huge, huge flood of water. How about that? But maybe it would be a little bit more stuff in it, but who knows. Anyway, let's take a look at some of this gravy from Buffalo that I can, again, go to the place and see what's on the ground there right now. It's kind of the unique ability that I have, the electric tower. Now, allegedly, these are all facades, I'd say, or what they've told us. Oh, there goes Niagara Falls. Been there numerous times. That's the American side right here. Okay, this is the American Falls. For those of you who don't know, this is the American Falls. This would be the Canadian Falls, and looking at it from a bird's eye view, I'm not going to really do it from Google Plane right now, but that's the Horseshoe Falls, and that's the Canadian side. Now, you can't see it in this picture, but the Canadian side is on the other side, and if you're ever going to go to Niagara Falls, I would advise, if you can, to get to the Canadian side to see it. Because of course the American side is beautiful, but you cannot see the entire scape of the whole size of both waterfalls unless you're on the Canadian side. And I got no problem saying that. I love Canada. I love Clifton Hill. If you're ever there, go check it out. But if you're ever going to go to Niagara Falls and endeavor to go see it, you might as well go to the Canadian side also. Get your passport, enhanced license, and go to the Canadian side, and you'll never see anything like it. It's one of the most beautiful sights in the world. We take it for granted here because it's in our backyard. Oh, so there's Niagara Falls. Now there's the electric tower. And a beam of light came out of this thing that you wouldn't believe, per the pictures. And actually there's video footage of it as well, I believe on Wiki. But I am actually using InfoGalactic, and I will plug that right now. This is not Wikipedia. This is InfoGalactic. I'd say get familiar. Get yourself an account, and don't mess around. Be for real, because it's I think it blows Wiki whatever out of the water. Anyway, back to Pan Am. Now this is Buffalo Pan American Exposition. A lot of these buildings, this building was demolished. I remember as a kid talking about the Pan American Expositions, and they said a lot of this was paper mache. There you go. Okay, that's the Machine and Transport building. Now let's go take a look at where that was. Machine and Transport building. That would be this thing right here. You know what? Let's get into that picture again. These buildings right here. I believe. Now you gotta. We all have to make our best discernment here. And you want my best discernment, that's not paper mache facade or plaster casts. You would never endeavor, and I agree 100% with John Levy, autodidactic, you would not endeavor to build a facade, even if it was paper mache, with that grandeur. Number one, in paper mache or whatever they say that it was made out of, and then to tear it down. I don't believe it one bit. Look at the beauty of that. Is that a stencil or is that some kind of... And then you got the Antiquitech up here with the balls, of course, to catch it. The free energy out of the aether. I mean, let's just say it. We think that these... maybe free energy or maybe resonance, right, with vibrations and somatic patterns. It's time to start really putting things together here with what we know about vibration and somatics, and a lot of these cathedrals that I have in Buffalo also. You know, we're doing the Pan American Exposition here. I don't want to really get off onto another tangent, but you know, I can get boots on the ground for... I've passed by cathedrals and churches in Buffalo, and you get out and take pictures of them, beautiful, and the stained glass windows have patterns on them that you would see on those somatic pattern vibrator, vibration tablet things, you know, that Jason, actually I just heard Jason talking about it on Secrets of Saturn with Crow. Those two OGs get into it too. Listen, I'm pulling from everything here. I'm trying to take from those guys, take from, you know, I like to plug Stelium 7 with the work that he does with the Titans. I believe that that's a possibility too. If this is a plane, which I believe it is, even the work that Roger does, he still thinks this is a globe. God bless him. And I'm not right, he's not wrong. I think this is a plane. Excuse me for that, sorry. And that, you know, the size of the Titans these guys look at and propose to be. I'll do some research on that too. There's a couple of things I think are dragon embryos out in Libya that Roger and Mud Fossil put me onto. And then Stelium 7, the Titan of Mont Go. I'd also advise on a tangent or a side tangent to go look at Heard Islands in the South Pacific and Elephant Island. They look like elephants to me. They look like they are linking their tusks or their trunks together. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm not saying what it is. I don't know what it is. It certainly looks like it though. And then you couple, you watch all the parts of the mastodon of Stelium 7, and you tell me that those islands don't look like huge mastodons. And then you think of Lord of the Rings, Tolkien with those Oliphants. I mean, what did he know? Okay, back to Pan Am. More to come on that, on those rabbit holes also. This is going to be a very hopefully interesting channel for everybody, and I figured I'd do some Buffalo Pan American Exposition to, you know, break the ice with that. So here we go. This would be the plaza. I wish I can get a better picture of what exactly... Where would the plaza... Maybe we have a better bird's eye view. Oh yeah, there. Look at the electric tower there. Sorry. Crude setup here. Look at that. I mean, you really can't even appreciate the size of how big that statue is. Probably 50, 60 feet. This thing just lit up like a casino slot machine, straight up, and a beam of light came out of this thing like you wouldn't believe. There's a video of it, and you know, I don't want to go crazy. Here we go. I believe this turns dark the second half of the video, and then you see the electric tower light, I believe. Excuse me. Do you think that that's all paper mache facade? I don't. I think that, you know, like what we think. There you go. Here goes the dark. Boom. Look at that beam. I mean, I don't even know if we can focus a beam like that this day and age. In this day and age, everything lit up. Look at that. Everything lit up. Like the ribs, all the lines lit up. Was that... What was charging that? Niagara Falls? 30 miles away? Excuse me. Okay, back to the gravy of the architecture. Now, again, I remember being taught as a kid, specifically, explicitly, I remember my teachers telling me that they made the Pan American Expositions out of paper mache facade. Sculpt. Oh, look at that. It looks like kind of a face. That one right there, eh? I mean, I don't buy it, especially now that we see that we believe that his story has been completely usurped. Whether it's backfilled canals, possibly, or the mud flood evidence that we see in Tartaria. Agricultural building. Just look at the size of these things when they have the people down there. More. See, I think that they were probably showing how to do all this stuff in these things, like tutorial, or go in there and get seeds. Maybe in the agricultural building, they had an electrical building too. They probably showed how to the massive, huge machinery. That another good video to watch is, it's called The Proper People. A couple kids, legends, actually go into the old factories and and a lot of times they come upon, I believe, some of this old Tartarian architecture and the machinery from what you would say the Industrial Revolution time. But what was that really? Was that another grabble on history? Probably. There goes the stadium, and I think that I don't know if that's the electric tower in the back. I don't think so, because the point of view of the stadium is pointing this way. So that would be, I believe that would be the central terminal in the background, which is all the way over here. I don't know. You look that up. That looks like it's pretty close. This picture of the corner of the stadium shows massive, beautiful character of the architecture. This will be a very large structure, and during the exposition season there will be held an athletic carnival of particular interest. The entrance to the stadium is large building having an arcaded arrangement on the ground floor. The upper floors will be used for restaurant purposes. Upper floors, huh? You know, in a facade. Look at this. Look at that building back there. I mean, it looks like Ben-Hur. It looks like a Roman stadium or a Greek stadium. A corner of the stadium. Look at the build out on all this. And look at that, actually. It looks like old foundation. Like the brick that we're saying. You know. Plain sight, huh? Ethnology building. Okay, interesting. I've never even heard of that. Ethnology building. That would be one of the round ones that we've seen lit up. For frame of reference, that might be the electric tower. Wow. Canals here. There were a lot of canals. There's video on YouTube of people running through the canals. The United States government building. Horticultural. Okay, more. Graphic arts. Now these kind of look like they might be drawings or renderings or, you know, whatever. But we know that they existed. Even the mainstream tells us that. There's only a couple of these buildings standing to this day. actually right around Delaware Park, the Albright Knox Art Gallery. This is a building that is in the Pan American Exposition. Still standing to this day. This would be the, down here somewhere, Albright Art Gallery. There you go. See where it says that. Sorry about this. Gotta get a little bit more used to it. Albright. There you go, right here. And then the art gallery over here is still there. So those of all this beautiful, of all the grandeur, they just keep this one. I mean, they're still beautiful in their own right, for sure, of course. But I mean, look at the comparison. I mean, these are big buildings, you know. Let me do a little bit of I mean, you know. And the other one is right across over here. Albright Knox Art Gallery. Oh, that's the art gallery. I had my frame of reference off. That's the art gallery. What's that right there? To report back on that one. Museum of History. Buffalo Touring Company. There you go. Touring Company. Museum. It was a museum. Anyway, back to the pictures. There it is. Oh, okay. There you go. The art gallery. That's about 2 minutes away from my house, literally. I actually watched Elvis Costello play in the parking lot. You can look that up. Came here and played in the parking lot of museum. I was at that concert. It rained that night. Beautiful in its own right. It still stands, but they knocked everything else down. The north towers of the Machinery and Transportation Building, photographed from the roof. The size of that. Look at the size. You wouldn't, even if it was paper mache, you wouldn't build it that big. In my opinion. With the Antiquitech up there reaching, I mean, look at the size. You know, at a certain level, it kind of looks like a drawing. Entrance to the stadium. You don't know any better. You literally think that that was Rome. Now, what we're saying is that this stuff was here when the Pilgrims landed. Let's just put it out there. And we happened upon this stuff, and we created a certain portion of history. Some people might say that there was time added to our timeline. I've heard that from Crow. Crow believes, Crow 777 believes, as I do too, that there was possibly 1,000 years added to our timeline. You know, the medieval time and the Dark Ages, that's not paralleled in Chinese history. So it's like, what's going on here? We have right to ask these questions now that it's not all bottlenecked through academia, and you don't have every academic, with their overarching Dunning-Kruger on steroids. Oh, I went to school for 6 years in law, so you can't tell me about history. That BS is over out the window these days with the love-hate relationship that we have with these platforms that allow us to do this research. Here go the sculptures. I'm not really much interested in this. I am, but we'll just skim by them. Look at this. Interesting. Now, where was that? Why is that picture in there? Obviously, with certain things going on, this kind of hits home. But why is that up here? I mean, I'll tell you what. 10-minute ride outside of Buffalo is straight farmland, 100% for sure. We're definitely buffered by, I said this before. Look at that. Look at that. That must be from the electric tower, looking down over it. Look at that. Look at that thing. Looks like the old salt and pepper shaker that we used to have at the Riverside Park Fair back in the day that they took away. And this was very interesting too. Read this little caption right here. Speaking of airships for Tartaria. It says a startling illusion. Okay. Representing a flight by airship from the Pan American Exposition. Flight by airship. Where's the mode of propel? Where is the propulsion system, if you will? I think we're missing part of this picture. It might be grabbled. I think that there's probably an airship above this thing. It looks like it's one of those old airship blimps. That should be above that. It might be a grabbled picture. So then I don't know. Why would they show that? There's no engine, just directional sails. I don't know. I'm just shooting from the hip here, as always. So, oh, there goes the layout. That's interesting. Here we go. I forgot. I wish I knew how to flip this. Elmwood. Okay, bottom is Elmwood. This is Delaware. That's Delaware Park. Electric Tower. Okay, the stadium. Well, this is a really good resource here. So that's the Buffalo Pan American Exposition. And I'll just do some firing from the little bit more firing